I wanted to share a little bit more about my book with you today, and I'm so appreciative to all of you for, being tolerant of all the times I've promoted the book on the podcast and listening and reading. But for those of you who haven't read it, I wanted to give you a little more insight as to why I wrote the book. So I thought I'd share with you the preface that I wrote for the book. This book was born from a season of profound loss and transformation. In the wake of my husband James' death, my world shattered, leaving me with questions that had no immediate answers. Grief reshaped me at my core, forcing me to confront who I was without James or the roles, definitions, and achievements I'd spent my life building. For the first time, I realized I had been telling myself stories. Stories about what success should look like, who I needed to be, and how I was expected to move through the world. None of those stories fit anymore. In the aftermath, I wasn't sure what I was looking for. All I knew was that I didn't want to live in a narrative of endless sorrow and hopelessness. Instead, I started searching for a way forward, to rewrite my story and create a life that wasn't defined by what had happened to me and my family, but held both my pain and the possibility of rebuilding. That search became the foundation of this book. There was no roadmap for the journey I found myself on. Closing my business, reimagining my life, and grappling with the weight of grief left me vulnerable in a way I had never known before. But it was in that vulnerability I learned so much. I learned how to survive the initial gut-wrenching early days of grief and sorrow. I found a breadcrumb trail of courage that showed up day after day, guiding me out of abject grief. I learned that sharing my pain was essential to my healing. I leaned hard into trusted friendships and my children, who have been my absolute anchors. And ultimately, I learned to dream again. It is not at all like I had dreamed before, but dreams born from suffering and seeing life through an entirely new lens. I didn't write this book simply to share my story, but with the hope that in its telling, anyone who's experienced profound loss, betrayal, sorrow, or grief might find a kindred spirit, someone who understands the depth of their pain. If I've learned one thing in my journey, it's that we are all surviving something. I also hope that for those who have questioned how to pick up the pieces after life has brought them to their knees, or who are searching for the strength to go on when it feels like there's no path forward, that my story will give you strength and the assurance that moving forward is possible. It's a book about survival, and it's a book about looking hard at life's most challenging questions. It's about finding meaning in the messy in-between parts and daring to imagine what's on the other side of sorrow and loss. Throughout these pages, I will share the lessons I've learned and the truths I've uncovered. I will also share how I learned to listen to the stories I was telling myself and how I began to rewrite them. This book is deeply personal, but it's not just for me. I hope these words remind you of your courage and give you the strength to keep going in your survival journey. Thank you for being here with me and for reading. This story isn't over yet, not mine or yours. Thank you so much. I'll read more later.